Radical compassion. What is that? How do those words go together to you? I like the phrase radical compassion because it, you just don't, maybe don't think of those words together. What does it mean? And I think it, like a good example of it is love thy enemy, right? And compassion is taught in so many teachings. You can find it everywhere if you start looking for it. And my favorite personal story about it is after the 2016 election. And I was going through this grieving because I'm a survivor of sexual assault. I was sexually assaulted as a child, and as an adult I've been not believed. And for I felt like after the election that the nation voted that what happened to me was okay. And looking back on it, I can see, okay, that's not rational. The nation did not vote that it's okay that I was sexually abused as a child. But that's what I was really grieving. How could anyone vote for this person, given the evidence that we have that he's not a good person to have in office if you care about the issue of sexual assault. And that issue does affect everyone. There are 42 million survivors of child sexual assault in America, or maybe the world. I think it's America. But 42 million. How somebody that it affects, so it matters to you, whoever you are. So I had a grieving process after the election, and then maybe 5 days after, I was crying. I began to meditate, and I was sitting in my meditation, and the thought occurred to me to have compassion for Donald Trump. And a part of me said, whoa, that's crazy. That's crazy, don't do that. But, I know in my heart that's true. That's what's true for me, to have compassion. That's the only way we're going to get anywhere. It's with understanding and compassion and love. So I meditated on his childhood and what it must have been like and what trauma he must have experienced to be the kind of person he is and what his attachment injuries are. I'm a therapist. I'm a mental health counselor. I know a lot about this subject, right? People don't I don't believe that people are born assholes. I just don't. I believe people are born and they experience trauma. And then they're assholes. So how is Trump such a hurt person? What happened to him? So I started to meditate on that, and I had seen the PBS documentary that aired before the election that told the life story of Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump. And ooh, I felt bad for that kid. I already felt bad for that kid. He was a little boy. He's just a person. He's just a person. And he's a very hurt person. And he deserves compassion. He deserves that people believe that he can change, That's the only thing that is going to give him the space to change. You have to give space, hold space that feels safe to allow people to step into it and change. Radical concept. Not in my field. That's what I do for a living. But yeah. Thoughts for the day on compassion. I wrote a blog post about this on my counseling website, patriciaflorescounseling.com, so I'll link it below. And you can read my compassion for Donald Trump, my imaginings of the pain that he's gone through, using his bio from his Wikipedia page and Googling a little bit online for articles about how he grew up and what he went through publicly during the election cycle and afterward and after he was elected. So you can read that. My other resource for the day, I got this in the mail. I got this in the mail yesterday. It's so pretty. This goes along with, if you saw the video from yesterday, you can go back and watch it. I presented the idea of what is a miracle. Miracles are something that we can experience every day in our lives. It sounds cuckoo and crazy if you don't get it, if you're not there yet. But it's great. It's a deck by Gabrielle Bernstein. She's a big, well-paid speaker, spiritual speaker and author, and she created a deck of these cards, and they're so pretty. And you can use it just to find like inspiration for the day, so you can see how beautiful they are. So I picked one here for today. It says, "My happiness can be measured by the level of my faith and love." That can sound like cheesy, fluffy nonsense, but if you really understand the meaning of these words, this is the most powerful thing there is. Love. Compassion. Love. It sounds fluffy and meaningless, but it really is. When you get it, it's everything. It's our greatest power. And your happiness can be measured by the level of your faith in love. So after the election, a lot of us were thrown into a crisis, a loss of faith. A loss of faith in our community, the people around us, to vote for this person. For some it was not surprising, for some it was shocking and painful, and we experienced a loss of faith and love, and not as much happiness. So by practicing compassion for Donald Trump and the people who voted for him, then you get your power back, your strength back up, your happiness up, and you can go forth in the world and do what you need to do. Please, go do what you need to do. And if you're sitting in anger and fear, or pain, or grief, work through it. Work through it. Find your faith and love, and throw open the doors and step outside and get back out there. Signing off.